way to investing in real estate, which I believe is real estate syndication. Now, what we need to know first is, why are all of us here? Some of you guys are already invested in real estate, and I'd love to get a hands of who is already invested in real estate. Awesome. Okay, so we're dealing with some experienced investors. How many of you guys are looking to get into your first deal maybe over the next couple of months to the next couple of years? Okay, awesome. How many of you guys have done real estate syndications before in the past? Anyone? Okay, nobody. Love that. And how many of you guys kind of understand what real estate syndication is? Might have heard it, might have came across it on Google. Okay, cool, awesome. So my plan today is to pretty much simplify real estate syndication for everybody. When we walk out of here, we're gonna know exactly what a real estate syndication is, we're gonna know who it's for, and how you can get started in real estate syndication. Does that sound fair, guys? Awesome. So the first thing I wanna talk about is, why are more investors purchasing multifamily real estate over single family homes? Because I'm starting to notice this trend, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are starting to notice this trend too. More people are moving towards multifamily real estate. I want to open up the discussion right now. This is going to be a very open discussion. Why do you guys feel that more people are investing in multifamily as opposed to single family homes? Anyone brave enough to say anything? Yes. Okay, love that. ROI is much greater.
Decline of home ownership.
Decline of home ownership. Okay, good.
Affordable housing.
Affordable housing. We've been hearing a lot about that lately. What else?
It's safer. You have 40 doors versus one door. One door is going to be you have 40 doors, you have 5 doors.
And that is the one reason why I first started looking into real estate syndications and looking into multifamily. I was like, hey, if I go invest in a single family home and I lose that one tenant, oh man, I'm gonna be in trouble. But if I have 4, 5, 10, 15, 100 doors, I might be okay. So some of the common nuances, and guys, I just literally pulled a list of some of my 10 wealthiest clients and I just called them and asked them, what are the reasons why you guys invest in multifamily? And I was able to put together a list of literally the same answers that all of them told me. Carlton, the number of units is a very important number for me in real estate. It's almost the most important number for me because the number of units is gonna help me lead potentially to more cash flow. Not to mention, sometimes multifamily has higher rents than mortgages. This is crazy. We see this all the time where people are renting and sometimes that fee is even higher than it would be if they were to own their own home. Not to mention, in some areas, there's lower vacancy rates. I remember going to school up at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and every single apartment complex was fully occupied. I could not get into an apartment complex. But all the single family homes you can go purchase. They're all on the outskirts of the campus. There's tons of single family homes. And sometimes when I would look online, I'd see those same single family homes vacant the next year when I was looking to apply for a new apartment structure, okay? Also, the most important one, less risk when losing a tenant. Obviously, guys, if you guys have more tenants sitting inside of your rental properties, we're gonna be safer with one of them deciding to move out, okay? And the ability to scale your portfolio faster. A lot of us know that we can do cash out refis, HELOCs. We can get into bigger real estate a lot faster if we just start with more than one door, okay? All right. So real estate syndication 101, what is real estate syndication? Well, real estate syndication comes from the root word syndicate, all right, which means pooling of resources. That's what it really means. Hence, real estate syndication means pooling of a lot of people and investing in an asset. That's real estate, okay? Instead of buying a bunch of small properties individually, how about we group together and buy a large asset together, right? Because let's just say I had $50,000. That might get me into a single family home. It might get me into a duplex. Oh great, a duplex, now I have more than one unit. This is awesome, right? Well, now I have 2 tenants. I'm worried about maybe one of those tenants moving out and me no longer having cash flow. I'm also gonna go have to manage that deal, collect the rent. Maybe it may make more sense for me to go into a pool of people where we all invest in a larger asset and we're all earning cash flow off of that asset and none of us have to manage that deal. That might be a better investment for you. So how does real estate syndication work? Well, there's 2 groups that come together in a real estate syndication, guys. There's the GPs, the general partners. Those are the people that go and find the deal. They're finding the deal, they're underwriting the deal, they're putting together the business structure for the deal, they're setting up the entity for the deal for all the investors to come in. And then there's the LP guys. The LP are limited partners. These are the people who have, $40, $50, $60, $70,000 sitting in the bank. They want to get invested in real estate, not sure what they want to get invested in just yet, whether it's multifamily, single family. They're eager to put their money in somewhere because they know having their money sit in the bank is not making them any money, okay? So LPs are the ones who are looking to invest. The GPs are the ones who are locating the deal. Does that make sense to everybody? Awesome, okay, perfect. So there are steps to having a successful real estate syndication. There are steps. The very first step is the general partners and the limited partners need to get together and form the entity structure. Typically, this entity structure is some version of an LLC, okay? The second thing is the money needs to get collected from the investors. So all the LPs need to be qualified and they need to have their investment money ready to go. That's correct. You are going to need to have your investment money ready to go. The GPs are looking for all the different investors that qualify and they're pulling them together to get ready. Third step is, once the deal closes, the GP immediately gets with the property managers. Because what he is trying to do is he's trying to add value to the property that they just purchased by doing renovations, by putting in specialty lighting, by changing flooring, moving bad tenants out and putting better tenants into the property to raise its value. Once that property has appreciated the way that the GP has wanted to, and by the way, the investors are getting paid out monthly the entire time, then the GP is going to turn around and sell that deal. And all the investors who came up with capital will get paid back their investments, their initial capital, and then they're also going to get split on the profits. So this is where real estate syndication can become very powerful, okay? Awesome. So I decided to create an example of a real estate syndication. This one's pretty simple, okay? So ran into Jane and John today. They're a great couple, by the way. Decided to put them in my presentation. Jane and John found a property online. They were doing some looking. They were doing some searching, just like most of us do. We'll get on LoopNet, Trulia, you name it. We're going to do some searching. And they stumbled across this property. It's $10 million. They liked the property, but they immediately knew they could not afford it. The numbers made sense. They liked the number of units that it has. They liked the cap rate. They even liked the location, Dallas, a place with no state tax. They liked that place. Awesome. But you see, their yearly combined income is $240,000. That's still a good amount of money, but that's $240,000. They've been good about saving their money. They have $105,000 saved, and they're pretty motivated to invest in multifamily, but they're realizing they're not going to be able to come up with a down payment. So what they do is they start a syndication. First step Jane and John do is they create a business plan. They need to figure out how are they going to pull the investors into this type of model. How is this going to look? What type of entity structure do we want it set up as? How do we want the investors to get paid out? How are we going to improve the property? And most importantly, what is our exit strategy? So they meet with their lawyer, they put together their business model, and they've accomplished their first step. Now, their second step is finding the LPs. These are the qualified investors that they're looking for. They need a pool of people that are going to be able to cover not only the down payment, but also the repairs that are going to need to go into that property so they can add value to that property right away. So that's what they start doing. They start putting on different events. They start networking with people. They get out there because, guys, real estate syndication is all about networking. And they find people who are qualified to invest in the property with them. Okay? Now, once they've made enough money for the down payment and enough money for the renovations, they're going to close on the deal. And just like we talked about earlier, as soon as they close that deal, guess what? Who they're going to get with? The property managers. Now, they're going to get with the property managers to start executing on the business plan that was presented to all the investors prior to the investors even putting up their capital into that property. That's right. You want to have all the information, guys, before you even think about investing even a dime into real estate syndication. So all the investors who are chilling at home, relaxing, collecting their monthly checks are fine. But Jane and John are working with the property managers to make sure that those property managers are improving the property, adding value to the property so they can get to their overall game plan, which is the exit strategy. Okay? And so here comes step number 4. Once the property is renovated and completed, they determine that it's a good time to sell. See, they had purchased that property at $10 million, but with what they did over the last 5 years, they were able to add a lot of value into the property as well as just appreciation. So they decide to sell the property at $15 million after 5 years. What happens immediately after they sell the property is they pay out the investors their original capital, and then what's left over, the profits, go to a split. Sometimes you'll see a 70 or 30 split. That's something that we see pretty often. Okay? Awesome. So let's talk about the different types of real estate syndications, because there's multiple types of real estate syndications out there, and Ryan will get up here and explain to you his version of the real estate syndication world. But there's multifamily, which is what we're all pretty familiar with, apartment complexes. There is self-storage units, which you guys can see here at the bottom. There's manufactured home parks, land developments, hotels, student housing, warehouses, and guys, plenty much more that I just couldn't think of off the top of my head. There's so many different things that you can syndicate into. I was talking with Ryan, and he told me that you can syndicate into a Broadway show. Is that correct, Ryan? Wow. So you can syndicate just about anything. Okay, guys? So why invest in real estate syndications? Why would anyone want to invest in real estate syndication? Bigger returns. I'm all about bigger returns. I'm all about also having my time. Guys, when I think about real estate, I think about earning money, but I also I envision in my head, gosh, that's also a job I'm taking on, right? Because if I invest in a property that I own myself outright, that's going to be me going to the property. Well, first off, I'm going to have to find the property, underwrite the property, negotiate the loan, purchase the property, manage the property, and then find a way to improve the property and sell the property. That's a lot of up-leg work. And to be completely honest, not everyone has that interest in being a landlord, nor do they have the time to learn everything that a savvy real estate investor needs to learn before they get invested in real estate. So time and interest has to be number one. Number two, some people just want to invest in a physical asset as opposed to paper assets. Guys, the banks loan us money to invest in real estate. We're all aware of that, right? But do the banks loan us money to invest in stocks? Not so much. So there's a lot of people who believe in real estate as opposed to the stock market. I personally believe in having a balanced portfolio. However, I do like to physically touch my assets that I'm investing in. So I tend to invest more of my money towards real estate. Okay? Number three, you want to invest in something that's more stable than the stock market. It's pretty self-explanatory. One of the members here shared that with us right from the start. You want to invest in something that's stable. Multifamily is very stable. You want tax benefits that come with investing in real estate. Guys, depreciation is the king of all deductions. If there's one deduction that you are going to want for the rest of your life, it is depreciation. And I'll be getting into cost segregation later during this presentation, and so will Ryan. But just keep in mind, depreciation is the king of all deductions, one of the biggest tax benefits to investing in real estate. How about this? You want to receive regular cash flow from your distribution checks. I like getting paid monthly. My real estate syndication I invested in, it pays me monthly. My stocks, they pay me quarterly. I like my monthly checks, and I know you guys would rather get paid monthly too, okay? And then maybe you want to invest from your retirement accounts. A lot of us have a lot of money tied up in 401ks or rollover IRAs. You can access that money. We'll talk about it. And then number six, you want your money to make a difference in local communities. I don't know why, but I love the idea of my apartment that I invested in. It's a syndicated deal that I have out in Florida, and it's a 450 unit apartment complex. But I go on Yelp and I can look at my apartment complex and see the reviews that people are leaving. I love this apartment complex. The amenities are amazing. I can't believe management is putting on, tequila nights. I love hearing about that. Do I ever go see that property? Absolutely not. Have I ever been to that property? Absolutely not. I haven't even stepped a foot on that property. But am I a co-owner of that property? Absolutely. Does that property pay me cash flow? Absolutely. Do I get tax write-offs? Absolutely. And that's what I love about real estate syndication. See, I get to keep my time over here, helping people reduce their tax bill, while someone else is managing the deal for me, and I'm just earning cash flow monthly. Does that make sense, guys? Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, so let's keep going. What are the returns like in real estate syndication? This is important to me. I want to know what the money is looking like, right? So there are two types of returns you can receive. There's the cash flow return, right? So this is happening monthly. This happens via checks or direct deposit. Most commonly, it's going to be direct deposit. Most commonly, they're going to ask for your checking account routing number, savings number. You're going to give them your routing number and stuff like that, and then you're just going to start receiving monthly paychecks, okay? Then there's the profit split. So in most real estate syndication deals that you go into, at least the ones that you guys should be going into, there should be an exit strategy. And a part of that exit strategy is you making a profit once the GPs, the general partners, sell that deal. And that's where you can really make a lot of money all at once, okay? Most common cash flow returns that at least I've seen are about 8 to 10%. So if you were to invest, simple math, guys, if you were to invest in 100K, you would expect about $8,000 a year. That turns into about $667 a month. So at the sale, you can expect about additional 40 to 60% in addition to receiving your original capital back. So for example, if I put $50,000 into a deal and the deal gets sold in about 5 to 7 years, I'm expecting to make back that initial $50,000 that I put into the deal, plus some of the profit of that property appreciated, okay? While all along I've been making cash flow. So what does this mean? Well, altogether, when accounting the $8,000 per year that we're receiving over the 5 years, so that's $40,000 plus let's say $60,000 at the sale, you will receive a total of $100,000 in returns over the course of 5 years, which would double your money in that time. So when counting the profits from the sale, your average annual return over the course of those 5 years would have been 20%. Okay? You guys seeing that number? That's 20%, and that's like, whoa, down there. Yeah, so that's 20%. Okay? So what's the minimum amount you need to invest in real estate syndication? Probably something that we are always all wondering. It's like, okay, I know how much I have inside of my bank account. I know that real estate is something I need to do. I go to all these different seminars, but like, how much do I need to do this type of investment, right? That's important to know. So typically we see with certain types of 506Bs, which we'll get into later, that the minimum investments are roughly $50,000. You gotta have $50,000 to play, okay? That's pretty much the minimum amount. However, I have seen syndications as low as $5,000 entry fee, and that's for non-accredited investors. Meaning, if you have $5,001, you are in game, okay? So just letting you know, you can find some accredited and non-accredited as low as $5,000. Sorry, for non-accredited as low as $5,000. Now, keep in mind, this is probably the most important thing, which is why I probably put it in red. Your money is illiquid, guys. What that means is your money is locked in. Since the GP is controlling the deal, managing the deal, acquiring the deal, selling the deal, that money is locked up. We can't all of a sudden just call up and be like, hey GP, listen, yeah, I'm gonna need that 50 grand back. It's time for John to go to college. So when you put that money in, know that money is locked in, okay? We all understand that? When you put your money in real estate syndication, that money is locked in until the deal gets sold. Okay, awesome. So who can invest in real estate syndication, guys? Who is it for? Well, a large majority are open to accredited investors. If you guys go on Google and you type in, I want to invest in real estate syndication, I'll be very honest. You're going to find a lot of different funds that are just primarily for accredited investors. And if you guys don't know what an accredited investor is accredited investor is anyone who's making $200,000 a year who's single, someone who has a net worth of at least $1 million, or if they're married, they're making about $300,000 married. Okay? So just to let you know, 1% of the United States are accredited investors. So statistically, most of us aren't accredited investors. So typically, guys, we're looking for the non-accredited funds, which can be harder to find, but there are out there. The only reason why they're harder to find is non-accredited investors, non-accredited syndications cannot be publicly advertised, okay? But you can find them, and you can network with people and get into these types of syndications. They are out there, okay? Awesome. So what are the fees involved with real estate syndication? There's typically two types of fees that are paid out to the general partner. There's the acquisition fee, which is typically about 1 to 3% of the purchase price. This is paid out once the deal is sold, which goes to the GP, and it's for the work that he put in acquiring the deal. Like, we're gonna get him paid for acquiring the deal, right? And then there's an asset management fee which is ongoing. This is for managing the deal. Now, this is already taken out of your cash flow, which means when you're given the summary from your general partner on what your expected annual return is, he's already factored in his asset management fee for him managing that deal for you, okay? So I just want to make sure that we know, as passive investors, these fees are already factored in. So if the deal says 8% annual return, that's already accounted for, okay? That makes sense, guys? Awesome. Is real estate syndication starting to make a little bit more sense to you guys? Okay, cool. Can I invest in real estate syndication with the retirement funds? Yes. Actually, a lot of clients come to us asking us how exactly can they get money out of their 401ks to invest in real estate syndication. This is a conversation I deal with at least once a week, every single week, which definitely gonna start forwarding these over to Ryan. All right, so there is a way that you can do it. You need to roll over your existing retirement account into a self-directed IRA. How many of you guys are familiar with what a self-directed IRA is? Okay, there's a few of you guys that are familiar with it. I like the self-directed IRA. There's a lot more flexibility. I can use the self-directed IRA to invest back into real estate or even into stocks if I really wanted to. But typically people are using those self-directed IRAs to start a business or to invest in real estate. So that means we have to formulate a strategy in which we're moving that money over from your existing retirement accounts or existing IRAs into a self-directed IRA. Okay, so write that down. If you guys are wanting to figure out how to get money out of the 401k to get invested, we need to convert it into a self-directed IRA. Once rolled over, you can choose what you want to invest the money in. The money needs to stay inside of the self-directed IRA in order for us to avoid penalty fees and being subject to federal and state taxes. Okay, awesome. All right. What about the taxes? So it says when you invest in a real estate syndication, you're a part owner in the underlying asset. This is probably the best reason why I like real estate syndications because I understand the tax side of it, right? So I get what I'm doing. I get what I'm giving up versus what I'm gaining. And when I do a real estate syndication, I'm getting the exact same tax benefits as the GP does, which means the GP gets a K1 that goes to his tax returns, giving him depreciation and write-offs. I get a K1 that goes inside of my tax return giving me depreciation write-offs. The GP performs the cost segregation study accelerating the depreciation on the investment property. I get the cost segregation study that accelerates the depreciation and offsets all the rental income I'm making. That's right. In some instances, actually most instances, the GP is putting together the correct real estate strategies that is offsetting all the rental income I'm making. Offsetting all the rental income I'm making, meaning no taxes on the rental income I'm receiving. Okay, just want to make sure you guys are understanding that. All right, that's very powerful. Awesome. So every spring during tax season, you'll receive a Schedule K1 for your taxes, which you will report inside of your tax returns, which is either going to report income, a gain, or your losses from the property. Okay. Awesome. Most importantly, though, guys, you need to have a plan. That's the whole purpose why we're here today. We're learning information. We're learning about this new way of investing in real estate. I'm sharing with you guys some tidbits that gets me pretty excited about syndications. I want you guys to be excited too, but at the end of the day, if we don't have a game plan, none of this is going to happen. So what I want to tell you guys is your tax accountant is your teammate to real estate success. Most of my happiest clients are the ones that are communicating with me pretty regularly. They're the ones who are showing me the deals that they're investing in. We are calculating the cost segregation studies before they get into the deals. We are determining what type of entity structures that they're going to need ahead of time. And we're already figuring out what they're going to receive back in a refund right now, not waiting until January, February, March, and April, when it's really just tax time and now it's time for me to file the returns. Okay? So if there's anything that I will say is you need to know the tax strategies for real estate investors right now. If cost segregation study is new to you, and I see a lot of my existing clients in the room, so some of you guys have had this conversation with me. But for those of you who haven't, if cost segregation study is new to you, you need to know that strategy. It's one of the most powerful strategies for real estate investors, along with a plethora of other strategies that I plan on teaching you guys.